This is the Razer laptop cooling pad. After spending some time with it, I thought it might be helpful to share what I've noticed so far. This is much larger and heavier than the basic cooling pads I've used before. It weighs about 3.5 pounds, and it takes up a fair amount of desk space. The fixed angle raises my laptop quite a bit, which puts the screen closer to eye level. I found that comfortable for gaming and longer work sessions, but the angle may feel too steep if I type directly on the laptop keyboard. The top has a brushed aluminum surface, while the lower section is plastic. It feels sturdy on my desk. The rubber feet keep it from sliding, and my laptop stays in place without much movement. I wouldn't call it portable, though. It is about 4.5 inches thick, and I wouldn't want to carry it around in a laptop bag. Setting it up was simple. The package includes 3 magnetic foam frames for different laptop sizes and vent layouts. I picked the frame that matched my laptop, placed it on the pad, and then set the laptop on top. The foam creates a seal around the bottom of the laptop. It also feels soft enough that I wasn't worried about scratching the case. That seal is the main difference between this and a normal open cooling pad. Most pads use several fans that blow air toward the bottom of a laptop, but a lot of that air escapes around the sides. This one uses a single 140mm blower fan and a closed pressure chamber. The air is pushed through the bottom intake vents instead of spreading across the desk. I noticed the biggest temperature change during longer gaming sessions. My CPU and GPU stayed cooler and held their speeds more consistently. The exact result changed depending on the game, fan setting, and laptop position. Razer says the temperature reduction can reach up to 16 degrees Celsius, but I wouldn't expect that number with every laptop or every workload. The vent layout matters a lot. My laptop has large air intakes on the bottom, so the pressurized air has a clear path inside. A laptop with small vents or no bottom vents probably won't see the same result. That was one of my concerns before using it. The cooling method makes sense, but only when the air can actually enter the laptop. The fan can run at up to 3,000 revolutions per minute. At low and medium speeds, I hear a steady hum, but it doesn't bother me much. At maximum speed, it gets loud. The sound is stronger and sharper than the noise from the cheaper multi-fan pads I've tried. With headphones on, I can live with it. Without headphones, I usually lower the speed unless I'm running a demanding game or rendering a large project. There are physical controls on the side for power, fan speed, and the RGB light. I like having those buttons because I don't always want to open an app just to adjust the fan. The controls are easy to reach, although it took me a little time to remember which button did what. On Windows, Razer Synapse 4 adds automatic fan control and custom fan curves. I set the fan to stay quieter during light use and increase its speed as the laptop gets hotter. That works well when I move between browsing, editing, and gaming. The automatic control is useful, but it also means the smarter features depend on Synapse and Windows. If I use a MacBook or don't want a software running, I can still control the pad manually, but I lose the temperature-based adjustments. The front RGB strip can also be changed through Synapse. It gives off a soft glow across the desk. I kept the lighting simple most of the time, and I sometimes turned it off completely. It doesn't affect cooling, so I see it as an optional detail rather than a reason to choose this pad. I also used the 3 USB-A ports for my mouse receiver, keyboard, and another small accessory. That helped reduce the number of cables connected directly to my laptop. These are USB 2.0 ports, so I wouldn't use them for fast external storage. There is no USB-C port, which feels limiting if most of my newer accessories use USB-C. The cooling pad needs its own 36-watt wall adapter. It cannot run the main fan from a laptop USB port. That gives the blower enough power, but it adds another adapter and cable under my desk. I see this as a stationary setup rather than something I would use at a coffee shop or while traveling. Dust maintenance is straightforward. The intake filter is on the bottom and can be removed for cleaning. I like that I can get to it without taking the whole pad apart. Since the fan pulls in a lot of air, I would check that filter regularly. A clogged filter would reduce airflow and make the fan work harder. Compared with basic cooling pads, this moves more focused air and gives me better results under sustained loads. The trade-off is size, noise, cost, and the need for wall power. A basic pad may make more sense if I only want a slight temperature drop or a simple stand. This one fits my needs better when I'm keeping a gaming laptop at a desk and running it hard for several hours. I think it makes the most sense for a gaming laptop or mobile workstation with bottom intake vents. It is also easier to justify if heat is already causing lower clock speeds, loud internal fans, or unstable performance. I wouldn't choose it only for casual browsing, and I wouldn't buy it for a laptop that has no useful vents underneath. My experience has been positive, but I would check the laptop's bottom vent layout, available desk space, and tolerance for fan noise before buying. If those points aren't a problem, this is a practical cooling pad for a fixed desk setup. If portability and quiet operation matter more, I would look at a thinner and simpler option. If there's anything else you want to know about the Razer laptop cooling pad, leave a question in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more practical product reviews. Thank you for watching.